Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the service. My name is Ellen Quadgrass. I am the minister here, and I want to welcome you to a very special service today, imagined, created, and led by our very own coming of age youth on the topic of growth. Today's service is titled Growth Outside the Box. As Beth Gibson, our religious education coordinator, put so eloquently in elaborating on this topic, in a year when nothing happened, so much happened that wasn't visible to others. Zoom has been an amazing window, allowing us to stay connected, to put our eyes on friends and family, but the depth of field was removed. The box only allowed a certain view. Much of human experience was relegated to a tiny, poorly lit screen. What happened beyond the frame? The youth in this year's coming of age class did a lot of growing, a lot of searching, a lot of hard work without the quote luxury of doing this exploration face to face with their peers. The growth of self-discovery was done off-screen, outside the box. And the title, Growth Outside the Box, tries to provide a glimpse through the keyhole behind the curtain. What these youth accomplished this year, Beth continued in her comments, is something of a miracle. When so many adults have called their own beliefs into question, our young people have put theirs in writing, recorded them for all of us to hear and celebrate their growth couldn't be contained by the box. Can't wait to see, she concludes, or be part of what they do, and I agree. I can't wait to see either when the box is no longer an obstacle to be considered. And now I turn it over to Sadie Swanson, who will speak first, and then the rest of the coming of age class as we begin our service.
Hi, I'm Sadie, and I will be sharing our chalice lighting marks the beginning of our worship service. I invite you to light yours if you have one, and if you like, you can use the chat to post the name of the street name where the chalice was lit. Our chalice lighting reading this morning is by James Cash Penney. Growth is never by mere chance. It is the result of forces working together.
Our opening words are by Reverend Dr. David Breeden. Welcome to a new story. Welcome to a day unwritten. We gather to speak of possibility. We remember the losses. We celebrate the victories. As a people of story, we embrace the possible over than the probable, weaving a story of hope. Join us in the new story. Join us in the day unwritten. Join us in the future of possibility.
Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's all right. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's all right.
Little darling, the smiles returning to their faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's all right.
Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Ooh, oh. Sun, 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 here it comes.
Let us join together for our unison affirmation. Please feel free to unmute yourself to say it with me.
Building shelter. On any given night, more than 500,000 people live in shelters.
Love is the spirit of this church.
Says the
Service
shelters
our message.
manages the problem.
This is our great
They will
covenant.
report where they get
Dwell together in peace, peace, truth, and love, and to help one another.
1990, early
Our COA class chose this book, Marlon Bundo, not for obvious reasons like its anti-Trump message, or its love is love message, though we embrace those reasons. The theme of our service is growth, and we felt a connection to this story because Marlon Bundo has a challenge to overcome, like we have this year. And with the help of his friends, each who is unique and quirky and special, finds his voice and the strength to stand for what and who he believes in. Our challenge this year in COA has been to articulate what we believe and what we stand for. That has been hard at times. Even the growth and development we would have expected as high school students and teenagers took effort. But we didn't do all this alone. We've had each other, our families, our friends, to help us find our way. In the end, it's been a weird year. Each of us has, nevertheless, been finding the strength to stand for what we believe in, and we share some of that with you today. A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo, written by Marlon Bundo with Jill Twiss, illustrated by E.G. Keller. Narrated by Emma Bissonette, William Carroll, Kate LaHoulier, and Sadie Swanson. Hello, my name is Marlon Bundo, and I am a bunny. I live with Mom, Grandma, and Grandpa in an old stuffy house on the grounds of the U.S. Naval Observatory. That's because my grandpa is the vice president. His name is Mike Pence. But this story isn't going to be about him, because he isn't very fun. This story is about me, because I'm very, very fun. This is the story of my very special day. My very special day started out just like any other day. I woke up all alone. Then I ate a fine bunny breakfast all alone, while I watched the news, all alone. You see, sometimes old stuffy houses are also lonely. After breakfast, I hopped to the garden to look at flowers and say, "Hello down there," to the bugs. That is when I saw him. He was a big, fluffy bunny with the floppiest floppy ears and the bushiest bushy tail. He was bunny beautiful. I was standing still, but being near him made me feel like my heart was still hopping.
My name is Marlon, I said, but my family calls me Botus. It's short for Bunny of the United States. It's a long story. My name is Wesley, and my family calls me Wesley, said Wesley. Wesley and I hopped together all around the garden. We hopped over daisies. We hopped over tiny carrots that weren't ready to grow up and be lunches yet. We hopped over Phil and Dennis. Once we hopped through every part of the garden, we didn't want to stop hopping, so we hopped right inside the old stuffy house. We hopped up and down at the creaky stairs and made beautiful creaky stair music. We hopped through the kitchen and maybe left a few bunny prints. We hopped through the very boring meetings with very boring people. It was a very good hop. It was the best hop, and I realized something. When I hopped with Wesley, my old stuffy house didn't feel so lonely anymore. At the end of our hop, I said, "Wesley, I don't want to hop without you ever again." And Wesley said, "That's funny, because I never want to hop without you, Marlon Bundo, ever again." And we both said, "We'll get married and hop together forever."
Hello, everyone, we said to all the animals in the garden. Hello, Phil and Dennis the bugs, and Pumpernickel, who is a badger, and Scooter, who is a turtle, and Dill Prickle, who is a hedgehog, and Mr. Paws, who is a very good dog. Hello, all of you. We're getting married so we can hop together forever. Hooray, said Phil and Dennis the bugs, and Pumpernickel, who is a badger, and Scooter, who is a turtle, and Dill Prickle, who is a hedgehog, and Mr. Paws, who is a very good dog. Hooray, said all our friends, because that is what friends say. Wait, said a scary voice, you can't get married. We looked around and saw that the scary voice is coming from the stink bug. Let me tell you a little bit about the stink bug. The stink bug was in charge. He was important. None of the other animals could quite work out why he was in charge or how he's important, but he was. That meant that he made the rules. That meant that all the animals listened to him, even though he was, and this is true, very stinky. Boy bunnies don't marry boy bunnies, said the stink bug. Boy bunnies have to marry girl bunnies. But this is the bunny I love, said Wesley. And this is the bunny I said me. I love, said me, Marlon Bundo. Just being next to Wesley made me a little braver. Too bad, said the stink bug. I am the stinkiest and I am important. I am the stinkiest and I am in charge. Boy bunnies marry girl bunnies. Girl bunnies marry boy bunnies. This is the way it has always been. You are different, and different is bad. The other animals whispered nervously among themselves. Pumpernickel, who is a badger, came forward. I am different too, he said. I eat my sandwiches crust first. I am different too, said Dill Prickle, who is a hedgehog. I read the end of books before I read the beginnings, just to make sure they're not too sad for me. I am different too, said Mr. Paws, who's a very good dog. Sometimes I sniff butts and I don't know why. Everyone is different, and different is not bad, said Scooter, who is a turtle. Different is special. Wait, said Mr. Paws, who is a very good dog and also a very smart dog. Wait a minute, we get to decide who's in charge. We get to decide who's important. We can vote.
And on this very special day, all the animals voted on who they wanted to have in charge. They chose not the stink bug. Hooray, said me, Marlon Bundo. Hooray, said Wesley. Hooray, said all of our friends, because that is what friends say. No, boomed the stink bug. Boy bunnies can't marry boy bun. You are not in charge. So, Wesley and I got married. We had 2 handsome groom otters named Muffins and Cubby, and a flower mouse named Hiccup. We ate and drank and danced the hokey pokey. Dill Prickle was especially good. And the ceremony was performed by a cat named Pajama, who brought her wife as a date. After we ate and drank and danced, we went home together. We have to get some sleep, Marlon. Tomorrow we leave on our bunny moon. Because it doesn't matter if you love a girl bunny or a boy bunny, or eat your sandwich backward or forward. Stink bugs are temporary. Love is forever.
Here in this community, we are here for each other in a whole host of ways. And one of these particular ways we can support each other is by being present in each other in what is good and what is hard in our lives. I invite anyone who would like to take a moment, if you'd like, to share something on your heart this morning in the chat, with much gratitude to know.
Standing on the brink of the future, as all of us always do, may we bring an open heart, a mind emptied of preconceptions, a soul ready to grow. May we, on this day, recognize too the burdens that we carry, whatever fears we might have about the future, about our troubles or cares for people in our lives. May we find in this community that our burdens are held and lightened. And may we, on this day, recognize the joys that are in our hearts, the pride that we feel, the connections that we have, the love of family and friends, and just simple appreciation for the gift of life. And may we know that it is through experiencing the good as well as the hard that we do learn, that we do grow, that we become day by day who we are meant to be. Let us take a few moments now for silent meditation, reflection, and prayer. Amen.
My name is Amy Prisco, and along with Carson Cambry, I had the distinction of facilitating this unique cohort of coming of age. We've all had a challenging year, not least of which our COA class participants. The world shut down and we all had to go home. These students had to leave their friends, peers, teachers. They went from having their days spent with people their own age to weeks and months spent only with their family. Instead of sports, academic clubs, and events, they began interacting with their classmates only on a laptop screen. As adults, we had some levers of control that we could pull to help us feel safe: masks, so much hand washing, limiting or complete shutdown of social interactions. But our teens didn't have agency over many of those decisions. They just had to have trust that it was going to get better eventually. Feels like a particularly hard year to ask teens to write credos and define what they believe, to define what is important to them, what their values are, what guides them. At the same time, navigating the pandemic clarified for many of us what our own values are, seeking out what is most important to us and what we believe in. One of an iterative process, replete with missteps and recalibration as new information honed our experiences. This push-pull of perfect timing and also worst timing ever informed a lot of this year's coming of age sessions. Some moments were exactly as you'd expect from teens, tired and threadbare with online education. Cameras pointed at ceilings, mumbles instead of participation, everyone feeling a little bit sad. Other moments were exactly as you'd expect from the pride of Westminster's youth. Transcendent and articulate explanations of their beliefs, everyone invested in the questions being asked, and asking more of themselves than we could even think to ask. To say we're proud of these students is an understatement. We've all been through something this year, but they've been through something and we've asked them to write down what they believe. This year would have been a perfect year for all of us to write credos if we'd only had some time away from grief and fear. Today, we look to this COA class to lead the way. So let's let them lead. Let's hear what they have to say.
Hi, I'm Laura Justy to introduce Emma Bisonet. Emma is a vocalist in choirs, musicals, and an a cappella group. She is a lover of art and nature and a deeply thoughtful and sensitive soul. Here's Emma.
One core aspect of Unitarian Universalism is that one can practice another religion alongside it. I know a lot of Unitarians who practice UU as a philosophy while also drawing from religions such as Judaism, Buddhism, and others. After having exposure to both Christianity and Buddhism, I've come to the conclusion that UU is what I consider to be my main spiritual practice. It encompasses everything I want from a religious experience. I am able to have a strong spiritual community to rely on while still exploring my personal beliefs, which are ever growing and changing. The realization that your beliefs can change with you was one of the most eye-opening for me during my coming-of-age experience. In the summer between 7th and 8th grade, I went to upstate New York for a month and earned my permaculture certificate. I learned all about plants and sustainable gardening. I like to think of Unitarian Universalism as a kind of trellis on which everyone can bloom. Each individual is their own climbing plant, whether a sweet pea or a morning glory, reaching toward the sun. UU's emphasis on social justice and acceptance are what drew me to it in the first place, and its kind and open-minded outlook on the world allow it to be tall and wide, providing space for diverse and beautiful plants to coexist and nourish each other through a complicated root network. Church has always been a place where I feel very safe. I think the unconditional love and acceptance of the UU and Westminster communities are best reflected in this metaphor as the crossbars of a trellis where I can hold on tightly and comfortably. These provide a strong place from which I can branch out and bloom into whatever sort of pea pod I end up becoming. Thank you.
Hello, I am Carson Cambry. My mentee is Zachary Hort Smith, and I've known him for a few years. I've been a member of the congregation for like 5 or more years, a while. I don't really remember how long, but it's been a lovely time. I've known Zachary for a while and his family, and I think what's important to know is he seems a little quiet and reserved, but he has a whole lot going on that he's thinking about, trying to improve himself as a person, and I am presenting him as my mentee.
Hello, my name is Zachary Orr Smith, and I live in North Kingstown, Rhode Island, and go to North Kingstown High School. I am a freshman. My main idea in life is respect, which has many different ways to take it. My way is just a general respect to every single being or thing in this world. A feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elected by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Due regard for the feeling, wishes, rights, or traditions of others. Those are the two of the plainest, most used definitions of respect, just grabbed from the internet in 2 seconds. This is my perception of respect. It means I accept somebody for who they are, even if they are different from you and you don't agree with them. Respect is your relationship builds free feelings, trust, and safety. It was the summer of 2017. It was my 5th summer at overnight camp I go to. There was a kid in the cabin who some of the kids I hung around kind of picked on. We made fun of him for having a very red face. I remember that we thought, oh, he would just laugh it off, and you may think it would just be some silly joke. Later realized that one of the only reasons this guy went to camp was to get away from the bullies back home, and how much we were ruining his summer and just disrespected him overall. I'm not 100% sure how to be a model citizen, but I'm being respectful towards everyone because I have flaws, and I'm still working on some of those flaws. Even when I'm joking with my friends, I can be disrespectful or giving them a hard time. But there is a difference between joking around with your friends and giving them a hard time and straight out disrespect. The idea of respect can be presumed and embraced very differently depending on your idea and definition of respect. I take it differently every day depending on the experiences I have had. But my main idea and definition of respect is it means that you accept somebody for who they are, and when they differ from you, that you don't agree with them. Respect is a relationship, feelings of trust and safety.
Hello, I'm Nancy Reed, and it is my great pleasure to introduce Arya Han for this coming of age service. I have done a lot with Westminster this year, but my hands down favorite thing was being Arya's mentor and having the opportunity to get to know her better. Arya is the ideal mentee. She is enthusiastic, thoughtful, and open-minded. She approached the topics of the coming of age class with interest and seemed to really enjoy exploring possibilities, asking questions, and considering answers. She mentioned to me that her family would sit around the dining table discussing coming of age topics, and I love that this has become part of the Han family story. Arya's compassion humbles me. She looks past the surface and gives people the benefit of the doubt. Her faith in humanity has helped to restore mine. She is truly a shining light. And now, without further ado, I introduce Arya Han.
The idea of a compass is how I interpret the idea of coming of age and being Unitarian Universalist. When you're lost, searching for your destination, the compass only guides you. It doesn't state your arrival time to that destination, how long it might take to get there, or where you even are. The compass only tells you a gist of where you're headed. The compass tells you your choices, but you ultimately have to make the decision. The hardest part of following a compass is that first step you take, either north, east, south, or west, and how you might believe you know where you're headed and how to get there, but something in the way of that might stop you. This thing doesn't necessarily have to be bad, it's just change, and a chance to learn something new. Being a Unitarian Universalist, I have had many changes in heart for what I believe is the right path for me. I started off going north, the way my mom has always gone, but ended up traveling a bit south towards my dad. I soon after found myself stuck, in the middle of everything, my compass moving left to right with every step I take. But what my COA class has taught me is that that's okay. There's a moment in everyone's life when you're stuck, trying to choose from north and south, left and right. But sooner or later, you need to take a leap of faith and take a step in any direction. This for me is going to take some time, but I've learned many new things with every moment forward I've taken in UU. So I believe I'm ready to start narrowing down my ideas for the right decision for me. One thing that is different from a compass to UU is that being a Unitarian Universalist, there is no wrong decision to where you are headed. Every choice you make and every step you take leads to where you will be later in life, and choosing the path over another is not going to change the gist of who you are. It will only change what you believe on later in life.
Our Share the Plate recipient for May is the Rhode Island Free Clinic. Founded in 1999, the Rhode Island Free Clinic's mission is to provide free, comprehensive medical care and preventative health services to adults who have no health insurance and can't afford these services, and to serve as an educational training site for aspiring healthcare professionals. The clinic mobilizes vital health resources for Rhode Island's uninsured, working poor, and low-income adults. The clinic also provides the most efficient and cost-effective alternative to emergency rooms for uninsured residents seeking comprehensive health care. The other half of the offering goes to support the good work of this community. You can donate using the link that is now being put in the chat. The offering will now be given and received with gratitude.
Hi, I'm Carla Swanson, and over the last year, I've gotten deep in my relationship with Kate LaHoulier, my mentee. I've known Kate for many years, inside and outside of church, and so when my prospective mentee was described to me by someone that doesn't know her that well, and described her as a little bit shy, I know that to not always be the case. Kate can be hilarious. She has a smart, dry, and sometimes dark sense of humor that I really appreciate. She's creative and jaw-droppingly talented in the visual arts. A small taste of that is coming up in a minute. Kate is also thoughtful. When her friends are picking up gifts for each other at CVS, which is fine, Kate is home crafting handmade, super personalized creations made with tremendous care and attention. I also know if you poke Kate enough, she will come out with a deep insight or observation that sometimes help me to look at things from a different perspective. I've truly enjoyed mentoring Kate over the last year, working with her as she first articulated and then visually represented her credo, which you all can now enjoy.
Hello, my name is Kate LaHoulier, and I just do a painting for my credo. So the background represents my personality and beliefs in life. I strive to be upbeat, friendly, kind, and determined. I consider myself to be an atheist, so I don't believe in God or the afterlife. And finally, some of the things that matter most to me are creativity, relationships, and advocacy. I believe everyone should be treated equally and that we should stand up for what's right. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, my name is Laura Justy, and I'm introducing Sadie Swanson. Sadie is an accomplished writer and performer of plays, a precocious advocate of justice, and an energetic and creative spirit. Here's Sadie.
Where do we go after death? What is our purpose? What do I believe? With so many religions and beliefs around the world, I've come to one conclusion. I do not know. I don't know where we go when we die. I don't know the human race's purpose, if there is one at all. On my spiritual path, I have reasons to keep going and make the best of life. First, there are loved ones in my life that have led me to become the person I am today and helped me form my religious path so far. Also, nature, just being outside and experiencing life among other species, is one of the most beautiful things that I know. Learning from the ways of Mother Nature herself helps me keep track and stay on my path through every fork in the road. Keeping an open mind is very important, as this path has countless turns and forks, winding every which way until I lose track and almost fall off. So I don't fall off, it's important to me to practice mindfulness, just being aware, being at peace, and living in the moment. One thing I've always been unsure of, is what happens after death. I recently lost my grandfather, which threw me quite a bit off my path. He was the main father figure in my life for many years, so losing him was detrimental to my mental health. I still struggle to imagine where his soul and energy is now, as energy can't be destroyed. He always wanted to be cremated, and I always wondered why. Maybe so a little piece of him could be with all of his family members, or maybe he didn't like the idea of an open casket at a funeral. Either way, I think it's beautiful. My mom decided the ashes that we get will be planted under a tree dedicated to him when we next move. I love the idea that on our homestead, he will grow with us and continue feeding this planet with his energy. Even if it isn't true, that his energy is still there, I think the symbolism is beautiful. And so, along this path, I've discovered so much about myself and the world we live in. I invite anyone and everyone with open arms to join me on my path and keep learning with me. I've come to the conclusion that it is okay to be unsure and to be grateful for the beautiful life I was given. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Bill Stone, and it's my pleasure and honor to introduce William Carroll, or as I like to call him, Sir William. This has been a tough year in many ways, and it has been not an easy year for mentors and mentees to establish a relationship with each other and get to know each other. Fortunately for me and William, we've known each other a long time. I was William's first grade RE teacher, and our families are good friends, so I've watched William from that tender young age grow into the impressive young man that he is today. William hasn't had an easy childhood. William's had some challenges, but with the love of an extraordinary family and some personal toughness, and also the help of the broader community, including the Westminster Unitarian community, William has matured and turned into a warm and caring, and earnest and serious young man who loves cooking, who loves doggies, who loves his family, who loves playing music, and who loves playing games on his computer. William has a very strong sense of himself and a healthy skepticism of dogma and doctrine. And I think that skepticism will serve him well and causes him to continue to search for what he believes in. But he has a strong sense of what, as you'll hear from his credo, what's important to him. And he's a show me kind of guy. William, I want to say a few things directly to you. I want you to know that I'm proud of you, and I believe in you. And I also want you to know that I am really interested in seeing how you continue and finish up your high school years and what you go on to do. And if I can be helpful to you in any way or continue to be a mentor, it would give me a lot of pleasure and pride to do that. William, take it away.
Hi, my name is William Carroll, and I have never really believed in any sort of religious, spiritual, or afterlife sort of thing, but my whole life I have believed in strong morals and supporting others. I have never believed in a God or an afterlife, and that's not really a problem. I don't think believing in a God is necessary, but I have always struggled with the thought of an afterlife because I don't believe in one. So I never really knew what happened after you died, and that scared me. But I do believe in science and facts, and it brings me great comfort that energy and matter is never created nor destroyed. So that means even after you're dead, you're not really gone. You're still kind of in the universe. The other thing that I truly believe is strong morals, and I've always grown up being taught the mentality or way that is, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter how good your grades are, how much money you make. All that matters is that you do your best and you just do everything the best of your ability. And I will admit, I haven't always kept up with this mentality. I have struggled with it, especially during this pandemic, but I think it's a very good way to live, and I've just been always raised that way. The other thing I believe in is people and support. I always believe somebody should support others or be supported by others, and that has really helped me during my life. It hasn't always been easy growing up, and I couldn't have done it without my grandparents, my mother, my aunts. They all helped me get through it and get through all my hard times. As the saying goes, it takes a village, and I do very much believe that. So I believe that one should support and be supported. All in all, that's really who I am and what I believe in, and this may change throughout my life, but right now, this is what I will live by, and this is how I will live. Thank you.
We'll now hear some music from William.
Hi, I'm Carla Swanson, and I have had the pleasure over the last year to serve as Eva Hahn's mentor. I actually started as Eva's mentor 2 years ago before a shift in the COA program put a hold on the program, and that means that I got to start off as Eva's pre-COVID in-person mentor. And I still remember a really nice walk that we took from church down to the skate shop in town, where I learned quite a few things about snowboarding and also about Eva. So it was a real treat to connect with Eva again 2 years later, to see the change that had transpired and significant change had occurred over that time. And in our not in-person conversations over the last year, growth and change was a topic we frequently touched on. We also talked about what's important to Eva and about events that transpired that helped her to decide what's important. Eva Hahn is one of the most introspective people I know, and that is considering young people or adult. She thought deeply and honestly about the topics that we covered, and I think it's fair to say that I learned more from Eva than she learned from me. I feel very lucky to have had the opportunity to mentor her over the last year, to get to know her better, and now you all can get to know Eva a little better too.
Hi, I'm Eva, and this is my coming of age credo. I would compare my personal beliefs about all things spiritual to the realization most children have around the age of 10 or 11 when they stay up a little bit too late and see their parents putting the gifts under the tree. There was never a lot of time for me to be absorbed into a world beyond science, but there was a lot of time for me to appreciate that world nonetheless. My beliefs have not been shaped by the supernatural, but instead by the more impactful experiences in my life, leading me to be a very open but admittedly still very skeptical individual if I had to describe myself. I feel as though Westminster, and specifically the Coming of Age program and all programs before it, have encouraged me not to adhere to the principles the people around me expect me to have, and instead to venture off and expand on my own beliefs and horizons, as cliche as that might sound. Putting myself on paper is a very funny thing for me to try to do, because although I do incorporate bursts of my personality into everything I write and talk about, I'm faced with indecisiveness about nearly everything I begin typing. My life experiences have been so incredibly tumultuous, but when I face them head on from the places I've climbed to, all I see are pillars of accomplishment and failure, the details themselves lost to time. Instead of a strenuous recitation of my life experiences, I've chosen instead to recount the overarching quality I've come to value throughout said experiences, and how I would consider this quality my own personal covenant. I think the most important quality that I strive to have and to see in other people is the quality of loyalty, to friends, families, partners, even this church. Additionally, something I've struggled with for a very long time is being a rampant people pleaser. It's very easy to take advantage of people who throw their all into relationships foolishly, and sadly, especially when done accidentally, it's very hard to detect and sort out. Something I've learned as I've grown up through and with this church is that while our message is obviously to serve other people, it is also to serve ourselves. I could spend hours trying to figure out how to help every single person I come in contact with at the expense of my own feelings, or I could believe in the principle of self-loyalty, something that my all-encompassing idea of people-pleaser loyalty always managed to forget. Growing up through this church and surrounding myself with the people in it, with similar ideals and values, but differing personalities, has taught me not only that different is okay, but that it is beautiful. The diversity of a community does not break it, rather, it makes it. And if it had not been for the stories and personalities and life experiences of the people here, I don't think I ever would have come to the conclusion about self-loyalty, nor would I ever have considered feeling any kind of greater connection. Although my world is still rooted in facts and science and things that I see, I think the spirit of the church itself and how it has influenced me and helped me grow is something that will live in me forever, no matter where I go. Thank you.
Hi, my name is April Cambry. I have been a member of Westminster for about 8 or 9 years. I had the honor and privilege of being the mentor for Hannah Lally over the past few months. I remember Hannah as this young, quiet girl when we first started coming to Westminster, and she has grown into a lovely, compassionate, kind, and introspective young woman. I will miss our monthly meetings, and thank you for sharing this journey with me.
I think we can all agree that it's been a tough year. I'm literally writing this at midnight the night before it's due. The pandemic has brought each and every single one of us challenges we never thought we'd face in our lifetime. Although it has had its countless negative impacts on everyone, I tried to find a little light within it. Quarantine was a time of reflection. I questioned everything: the world, existence, others, myself, the list goes on. The Coming of Age program helped me to deepen those many beliefs I formed over quarantine. I gained a heightened understanding of why and how I believe what I believe through the curriculum. If I participated in Coming of Age before the pandemic, I can guarantee you it wouldn't have had the same effect on me and I wouldn't have the same beliefs as I do currently. So what do I believe? I believe in energy. Think of a time you walked into an atmosphere and said, "There are good vibes in here," or a time you felt drained after being in a social setting for too long. That is all energy. Everyone and everything is interconnected. That is why kindness is so important to me, because you receive what you put out. If you put positive energy into the world, that's what you'll get back. It's as simple as smiling at a stranger. One grin can make a person's day and lead to a chain of positivity. And I believe in positivity. You should always strive to achieve happiness. When you're at the end of your life, you're not going to be thinking, "Oh, I'm so glad I cared about what that person thought of me." No, you'll be looking back on all your memories when you reach genuine joy. Positivity will manifest into success in your life because, once again, you receive what you put out. I believe in support. Maintaining a reliable support network of family and friends is so important, whether you're going to them for help or just to have fun. Friends and family help to give you a sense of trust and reliability within your life. You always have people there for you, even if you can't see it. Your community as a whole will always lift you when you fall. I believe in acceptance. We as a society should stop judging people for who they are. Welcoming people will only make the world a better place. Instead of thinking badly about someone for how they express themselves, get to know them for the person they are inside. People should be allowed to do as they please, as long as it doesn't infringe on other people's rights or well-beings. Striving for everyone to be equal in this world will create mass love, balance, and peace. Keep an open mind because everyone is on a different path in their life. And most importantly, I believe in myself. Self-love is the most important quality a person can have because in the long run, you only have yourself. I'm always striving to become the best version of myself possible. I can accomplish everything I put my mind to, I can manifest my dream life, and I can make the world a better place. I've been at Westminster for 9 years, and through religious education, I already have a deeper understanding of what I believe in comparison to most people my age. I still have the rest of my life to understand and create my beliefs, but for now, I am grateful for my time as a youth at Westminster and the Coming of Age program for giving me a head start.
I want to acknowledge our Coming of Age youth for the work they did this year, for the path they've traveled, and for the thoughts they've shared in probably one of the hardest years to do Coming of Age ever. And I also want to acknowledge that on top of the already heavy challenges of COVID, there were other heartbreaking, some devastating losses that some of our young people had to deal with. They all deserve so much recognition for the challenges they walked through or are walking through. We are proud of them. So we recognize our youth, the wisdom they've uncovered for themselves, and the inner resources it took to find it. I also want to take this moment to recognize our mentors. Every one of them, large-hearted, deeply committed adults who have been there for these youth in one of the hardest coming-of-age years ever. I want to recognize the parents. Your unsung, behind-the-scenes support has been critical and will remain so. You give these young people your love. Your presence offers them strength. Your care gives them confidence. I want to recognize Beth Gibson, our religious education coordinator, for going beyond all expectation to jump in and support this program and make it happen when we lost our Director of Religious Education. Her inventiveness, commitment, and care were invaluable. And I want to recognize Carson and Amy, our program facilitators, for jumping in and saying yes this year of all years. I want to recognize them for bearing with the challenges, and there were many, and for not giving up. I want to recognize them for surmounting the challenge, for example, of taking a learning process that is inherently supposed to be three-dimensional and taking it through a two-dimensional medium like Zoom. The depth and breadth of your commitment to this class and to these youth was so important. And I want to recognize all of you here today, this congregation, for showing up for these young people in so many ways over the years, in religious education classes, at multi-generational events, and so many other ways. Every one of you, your presence here today means something. As William said, it truly takes a village. And I want to end with my wish for our young people that, to the extent that you are able, I hope you can take in the love that is here for you. Imperfectly expressed as it might sometimes be, may you take in our support and heartfelt wish that you follow your inner guide, that you follow your heart, and that you grow as you are called, even when it's hard. And may you know that we are here for you. This place, may it be a foundation, a place to rest your spirit when you need to, a platform from which you can take off for the adventure of your life. You will each receive a gift from us, a token to remind you that you will always have this place to call your own, this place that is full of love. And finally, I want to share a note to you from the families. The families of this year's coming of age class would especially like to thank Carson and Amy and Beth and the mentors for their care and dedication over the last year. The families look forward to the experiential aspects of coming of age, which are planned for next fall, and are planning an in-person appreciation and celebration event once the coming of age experience has wrapped up. And with that, we end with our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home.
I feel no motion standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the casting questions into the deep. Drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Our closing words are by Ralph Waldo Emerson. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us.
All right.